Hello, 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 and welcome back to NoBS. Today, Christmas seems to have come early in the form of an October surprise that I think many of us didn't see coming. October surprises typically come this time of year on an election year, and it's a way for the media and the whole event and the whole election process to get a little curveball thrown in there. Essentially, sometimes information is withheld, sometimes big bombshells are dropped a few weeks ahead of the election, and we are at that time. We're about a couple weeks away from voting, and information has been coming out about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, his son, and some corruption they've had in dealings with the Ukraine and a very corrupt company that is centered there. Essentially, Joe Biden got his son a high-paying job in Ukraine because he was vice president during 2008 and 2016 under the Obama administration. Biden used his powers in the Ukraine to get his son this cushy job. He also coerced them into firing a prosecutor, a lawyer who was investigating the company his son worked at, and it's turned into this big fiasco. Actually, we're in the second part of the story now because that's just the introduction. Now we're talking about the reaction. You see, once that story came out, the New York Post leaked some emails and information off of a computer that they had acquired, and now that information is being suppressed by big tech. California, Silicon Valley specifically, they run a lot of social media companies that control a lot of the information in this day and age. Specifically, today we're talking about how Twitter was suppressing this story pretty hardcore. Many people showed that when they entered that link to the New York Post story into a tweet, Twitter would automatically block it and not let them post that. In addition, some high-profile politicians and big league figures in the circus have said that their tweets were blocked or deleted too. Accounts have been disabled, like the Team Trump account, which is the campaign account for Trump, and even his press secretary was suspended. And that's just really crazy. A few weeks before the election, and Twitter is banning posts about one candidate that make them look bad. This is stuff that's verified too. These emails are confirmed. This is a verified story that shows Biden in a bad light. So Twitter censors that. And in addition, they're deleting the accounts of people on Trump's team, high profile accounts like his press secretary and his campaign account. It's totally insane. And it's going to come back to bite Twitter and the Democrats. This is blowing up in their faces. And in fact, making things look much worse. It basically confirms the New York Post story. If you think about it, this story has been confirmed on other accounts. Other people have confirmed the emails and information. And basically, there's video evidence in the computer stuff too. There's pictures of Hunter Biden with illegal paraphernalia, doing bad things, committing crimes, stuff like that. So it's really hard to deny. And in addition, the more the Democrats try to hide the information, they're creating this Streisand effect, if you will, where people want to see it now that it's being hidden. And in addition, they're basically confirming its veracity. I mean, if it was a made-up story, if it was fake or not true, they wouldn't have to hide it so hard. So this is going to be unfurled today in a number of situations. A number of tweets will show you. Starting with this one from Dan, it says, "Unfortunately, you know exactly what you're doing. So does your team, who all hate Trump, and will do all they can to take him down. Plan has been in place, now underway. You're actively interfering in the election with hopes that Trump loses. Not happening." Basically, he doesn't want it to happen on our watch. I hope it doesn't happen too. He's responding to a tweet from Jack, who is already playing damage control. He's in big trouble, by the way. We're going to get to another part of that story where he's actually going to be called into the Senate for a hearing next week. So I think stuff's hitting the fan, guys. I really think this is going crazy. Basically, Jack says here, our communication around our actions on the New York Post article was not great, and blocking URL sharing via tweet or DM with zero context as to why we're blocking unacceptable. Yeah, but they've been doing this a long time. I think the problem is they're responding and starting to backpedal and apologize because they got caught, because they're pushing it too far. Really kind of crazy too, because if you think about it, they could have easily not got into this trouble. All they have to do is be fair and be just laid back more. Quit blocking everything. Quit deleting conservative accounts. Quit trying to stop posts about Biden. Just let everyone post what they want. As long as no one's breaking the law, everything's fine. You don't have to ban everyone. That shouldn't be an accepted practice, because we know you're going to use that to your advantage. They pretend you're harassing someone or you're saying something that's misinformation or propaganda or whatever their BS excuses, and it just doesn't make sense. It's just excuses used to push their political agendas. The next tweet here says this, nothing to see here, just Twitter account of the White House press secretary being locked for sharing the New York Post story on Hunter Biden. Doesn't matter which side you root for or against, this should horrify every American who believes in free speech. I agree. I think this is a bipartisan issue. I think the Democrats, if they were honest and straightforward and not just rooting for Twitter because they're on their side. If they were being fair, they would realize, hey, let's just not censor people. This is America. We should have freedom of speech. If you're not a criminal, if you're not breaking laws, you should be able to have a Twitter account and post what you want. There should be no restrictions on things except for what the law holds. I mean, these guys act like they're judge, jury, and executioner there at Twitter. And I got to tell you, I'm not one to trust Twitter with anything. I think they should be in charge of running the platform, keeping people updated with whichever interface and DMs and stuff like that, just talking about the platform. But they shouldn't be engaging in the discussion. They shouldn't be curating the information with such a fine-tooth comb. I mean, sure, if someone's breaking the law or planning an attack, or if they're sending out pictures that are illegal or something like that, like stop them by all means. If you want to censor some nude photography as well, I understand that. Put a warning label on it or something. But the way they're going about this is they have these really intricate, complicated terms of service, and they pretend that's some kind of law of the land when it's really not. Next, we got a post from Greg. He says, let me get this straight. The New York Times can post to Twitter and Facebook its story on Trump's taxes based on unnamed sources and documents it won't produce. But the New York Post cannot post its story on Biden based on documents it did produce. Confused? Don't be. It's political censorship, right? And it's also a form of election meddling. They're promoting this one candidate and defending him too. And they're also pushing out fake news about another candidate they don't like. And regardless of who those people are, what side they fall on, you should be against this. I would be against this if it was coming the other way around. That never happens in this day and age. Liberals are always in favor with big tech and media and the public and stuff like that. But that's what's going on. This is a great point because it goes back to the Trump tax story. They illegally attained his tax returns and revealed them to the public. Twitter promotes that story and says that's A-okay, totally fine, illegal, unnamed sources, unconfirmable, all this BS. But then the New York Post has a proven story with a verified laptop and hard drive, pictures of the candidate's son on there, confirmed emails and all that. And that's silenced for what reason? There's no reason given. There's no purpose behind this. There's no real justifiable even excuse. They're just straight up defending Biden. It's absolutely insane. And it should make us all sick to our stomach. I mean, I'm really, really getting sick of this. And I think this is actually going to come back to bite Twitter. They're going too far. They could have just coasted and made their millions of dollars. They could have just let everyone post and everyone have an account and just taken down the accounts of a few criminals that shouldn't be on there anyway. Anyone that's not breaking the law should have a Twitter account and be able to post. I don't even care if you're posting lies or exaggerations or opinions or whichever. You could post anything you want. If it's not breaking a law, it shouldn't be taken down. You shouldn't be censored. I mean, it's not illegal to lie. I know you can't lie under oath. You can't lie to the police in situation. I understand there's a limit to that, but we're talking about posting on social media. We're talking about places that you post text and all this stuff. And the main point I want to get to is I don't trust Twitter to be the arbiter. I don't think they should be trusted to say, hey, this is true, this is false, this is what the doctors say, this is what they don't. It reminds me of the whole pandemic thing and how they were trying to act like they knew more than these doctors. They're trying to act like they are smarter and have some kind of experts on their panels there. It's like, no, you do not know anything. You're Twitter guys. You work on computers. You made this platform out of code and stuff like that. It doesn't mean you know how to fact check or investigate crimes or whichever it may be. It's just absolute nonsense. Next, we got another example. This is a little video from the Senate Republicans. They're trying to post this story, and it's just a video showing that when you put the text in, like in this video, it doesn't let you post it. It stops it right there. It says tweet not sent. There's a little warning. They basically blacklisted that link and that story. It's really some 1984 stuff. Yeah. It's like we're living in the future. This is what they warned us about. They're putting these kinds of things in this black hole. They don't want you to know about this story. And you got to ask yourself, why? Why are they hiding this so hard? Why are they overplaying their hand? They're risking it all. I mean, Twitter could get shut down over this. I really think this could come to get Jack fired or something. They should really get overhauled or whichever it may be because they pushed it too far. They could have just played it cool, collected their money, kept it fair, let everyone post links, but they decided to become these sorts of manipulators. They thought they could change the election and the results, and it's going to really ruin them. I hope that they face some kind of repercussions for this. Next, there's a post about another link getting blocked. This is from Noam talking about this URL getting blocked. This is the House Judiciary Committee from the GOP. It says Twitter has blocked users from tweeting the link to the New York Post story. So we put it on our website for you to read and share. And now their website's been blocked, and it's just getting more and more insane. It's the House website. These are elected officials, and that's where it's really showing that they're going too far. They're going to start to get a big backlash backlash because of that. Next, I want to point to this new Explore story. This is what they posted the next day after Twitter got caught covering for Biden, hiding the story that made him look very crooked and proved that he was corrupt and getting his son money in Ukraine. And what does Twitter do the next day? They defend Biden straight up on their Explore page. This is the top trending page, says Joe Biden did not push out a Ukrainian prosecutor for investigating his son, the Washington Post confirms. So this is just wrong and ridiculous on so many levels. First of all, we went over the Twitter stuff. This is Twitter doubling down, just really, really insane, because the day before the story came out about all this confirmed information and connections to the Ukraine, this is another part of it that came out before. We actually have video evidence of Biden talking about this, which we'll get to. But before we do, I want to also note that the Washington Post is a super biased rag of a newspaper. They endorsed Joe Biden just a few weeks ago. This is who they're rooting for. It's so obvious. These guys are organizations that are pretending to be non-biased. They're pretending to report facts, but they're really pushing pro-Biden propaganda. Twitter's doing it. The Washington Post is doing it. And there really shouldn't be. I don't know why newspapers and social media platforms are endorsing political candidates, but welcome to 2020, everyone. Finally, let's end with a video. This is Joe Biden in a video saying how he got a prosecutor fired.
I said, I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said, I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time.
Okay, so I had to censor out some foul language there, but he's basically bragging to this audience that he got a prosecutor fired and he withheld the $1 billion of aid, saying, I won't give you this aid from America unless you fire this prosecutor I don't like. Just so happens that prosecutor is investigating the company his son works for. And this is a company that hired Biden based on him and his VP position, his position of power. The guy even emailed Hunter saying, how will this help us? How can your VP dad help us and give us influence? And it's just straight up quid pro quo, bad stuff. And this is also what Twitter just posted saying wasn't true. And we have video evidence of it. And well, that about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw. Subscribe if you're new and hit the bell for notifications too. Until next time, have a great day.